Hello, Falcons fans! The Atlanta Falcons just received some fantastic news that could have a big impact on their offensive performance going forward. I'll tell you everything we learned in a moment, but first make sure to hit the like button if you've been an Atlanta Falcons fan for 17 plus years. There are people here who have been fans since the 70s. It's great to see fans of all ages. Now, we've all heard Kirk Cousins' infamous clerical error explanation, right? You know, the one he gave after that tough game against the Saints last season when he showed up on the injury report but claimed it was all a mistake. At the time, Cousins insisted there was no actual injury, just a simple paperwork mishap. But let's be honest, folks, did anyone actually believe that story? Especially after watching him take 3 sacks and 9 hits in that game? This is where things get interesting. The Falcons never made a public statement to back up Cousins' claim, nor did they correct the alleged mistake with a press release. And that's odd, considering the team has been in trouble with the NFL for injury reporting issues in the past. If it had actually been a typo, you'd think they'd have cleared it up immediately to avoid a fine. So why would Cousins cling to the clerical error excuse? Well, here's a theory, and it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Maybe Cousins knew that admitting he was injured would give head coach Raheem Morris the perfect excuse to bench him in favor of rookie Michael Penix Jr. Let's not forget that Penix was waiting in the wings, and the coaching staff had already seen what he could do on the practice field. If Cousins had admitted he was playing through an injury, it would have been easy for Morris to justify the trade. But by blaming his struggles on a simple fall, Cousins could have argued that he just needed time to recover. And for a while, that narrative held. Morris stuck with Cousins for 4 more games after the loss to the Saints, despite some of the worst performances of his career. But then the breaking point came. After yet another disastrous game, Morris had no choice but to pull Cousins and give Penix his chance. And wow, Penix delivered. In just 3 games, he completed 58 of 100 passes for 737 yards, throwing 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. More importantly, he showed the poise and talent that had been turning heads in practice. Cornerback Mike Hughes summed it up best when he said, "The arm strength and talent are definitely there. He's smart." And Falcons fans saw it, too. Penix made it clear he was ready to lead this team, rendering Cousins obsolete heading into the 2025 season. You have to wonder how Cousins felt watching Penix shine. This should have been his dream scenario, a team with a playoff-caliber roster, a huge financial commitment to him, and a chance to finally make it to the Super Bowl. And let's not forget, it was in his wife's hometown. At 36, this was likely his last, best chance at glory. But fate had other plans. And while the injury ultimately derailed the season, it may have been a blessing in disguise for the Falcons' future. Penix has shown he's ready to be the guy, and launching the Penix era sooner rather than later may be the best thing for this team. Of course, there are still questions to ponder. What if the Falcons had protected Cousins better in that game against the Saints? Could he have led the team to the playoffs and held onto his starting spot? And even if Cousins insisted he was healthy, should Morris have trusted his instincts and made the trade for Penix sooner? Whatever the answers, one thing is clear, the Falcons have some cleaning up to do, both on the salary cap front and in terms of rebuilding trust with the fan base. But with Penix under center, there's genuine hope for the future. So what do you think, Falcons fans? Did Cousins' injury turn out to be a blessing in disguise? Should Morris have made the trade sooner? Sound off with your thoughts in the comments below. Here's the scoop. Myles Garrett, one of the NFL's top defensive ends, has officially requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, and guess what? The Atlanta Falcons are already being mentioned as a potential landing spot. Yep, you heard that right, Myles Garrett in a Falcons uniform. Let that sink in for a second. For those of you who have been following the team, you know that Atlanta's pass rush has been, let's just say, disappointing for quite some time. Last season, we finished 31st in sacks with just 31 total. That's not just bad, it's near the bottom of the entire league. And we haven't finished higher than 20th since 2017, which, not coincidentally, was the last time we had a winning record and made the playoffs. Enter Myles Garrett. This guy is a game changer. He's had at least 12 sacks in every season since his rookie year in 2017. Oh, And did I mention he was the 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year? Yep, he's that good. And according to ESPN insider Dan Graziano, the Falcons are one of the top 4 teams that make sense as a trade destination for Garrett, along with the Eagles, Lions, and Commanders. But why would Atlanta be such a good option? Graziano explains it like this. We have Michael Penix Jr. on a rookie contract, which gives us the financial flexibility to spend big elsewhere on the roster. Adding a star like Garrett to the defense could significantly speed up our championship window. And let's be real, edge rushers of Garrett's caliber don't come available very often. Now, there are a few hurdles, to be sure. First, convincing the Browns to part with their star defender won't be easy. Cleveland's GM has already said he's not interested in trade offers, but Garrett has made his request public, so there's still a chance. And if the Falcons do decide to go after him, they'll have to beat out some serious competition. What's the price, you ask? 2 first-round picks would likely be the starting point. And that's where things get interesting. Part of the reason the Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 last year was because they didn't plan on picking in the top 10 for a long time. This year, we have the number 15 pick, and our offense looks capable of being a top 10 unit in 2025. So here's the big question. Would you give up the number 15 pick this year and a late first-round pick in 2026 for Myles Garrett? Keep in mind that Garrett is under contract through 2026, but the Falcons would likely try to extend him and reduce his salary cap hit, which stands at $19.8 million in 2025 and $25 million in 2026. He's only 29 years old and should be productive for at least 4 more seasons. If the Falcons could pull that off, 10-7 would be the absolute floor for this team. Think about it, adding Garrett to our defense would be a complete game changer. The Rams finished 10-7 and are picking 26th overall in this year's draft. That could easily be us if we make the right moves. Of course, there's always the risk that this deal doesn't happen. But one thing we know about Falcons owner Arthur Blank is that he's not afraid to make big plays when the right opportunity presents itself. And this could be one of those times. So, what do you think, Falcons fans? Is Myles Garrett worth 2 first-round picks? Should the Falcons make an aggressive move to bring him to Atlanta? Or do you think we should stick with our current plan and build through the draft? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel for more updates. We'll keep you posted on all things Falcons, so stay tuned. Until next time, and as always, go Falcons!